want to start by reading a definition of the word confidence that I got from Harvard. Now, Harvard says confidence is the outcome of the thoughts that we think and the actions that we take. I'm going to read that again. Confidence is the outcome of the thoughts that we think and the actions that we take. My name is Jane. I help shy women overcome their fear through faith and bold action. Let's dive into today's conversation. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As we have just read the definition of the word confidence, it basically means it's the outcome of the thoughts that we think and the actions that we take. But what really allows us to be confident, what really pushes us to step out of our comfort zone, step out of our shyness, step out of our timidity and decide to be bold and confident? That's the conversation that is guiding us today. And personally, from my experience, I have not always been confident, but because I have applied these steps over and over again, I am starting to see the fruits of it. And I would like for you to join me so that as you start implementing these steps, they will help you become the confident person that you're supposed to be, so that you can take the bold action that you need to take in your life and live authentically. Now, the first thing that you're going to have to deal with when it comes to confidence is you're going to have to self-reflect. You're going to have to sit down with yourself, think of the things that are holding you back, the things that are making you not to be confident, and see how to deal with those things. The reason why a lot of us are not confident is because we do not want to sit down and reflect on the things that we know are causing us to be stuck where we are. Reflect on the problems that we have become comfortable in. Reflect on the spaces that we have become comfortable in, because we don't want to put in the work. We don't want to go beyond what is familiar for us. We don't want to do something that is going to cause us to be disruptive, and that's why we get stuck. So the first step is, if you want to be confident, is you've got to self-reflect. You have to sit down with yourself, ask yourself the hard questions. What is it that is making me not to be confident? What is it that is making me not to step out in confidence and do what I'm supposed to do? What is it that is holding me back? Is it my background? Is it because I think I'm not educated enough? Is it because I think that I don't have the right tools? What is that thing? Because unless you sit down and you self-reflect and you figure out the things that you need to deal with, you're going to be stuck in the same bubble you're in, because you're not taking the appropriate actions to deal with your lack of confidence. Let's take, for example, let's just think that confidence is like a balloon. What is it that keeps poking on your balloon that is making you lose your confidence? Now, once you self-reflect, the second thing you want to do is you want to imagine what life would look like if you went past your fear. So for me, I had to do that. I had to sit down with myself and ask myself, Jane, what would life look like for you if you stepped out of your fear? What kind of person would you be? You know, what is the ideal world that you will be operating in if you are operating in confidence? What is it that you will be able to do if you decided to step out of your comfort zone, if you decided to step out of the things that you think are holding you back? And once I imagined what that life would be, you have to, even if you can't write it down, write down that life that you imagine. For me, I imagined a life where I would not fear speaking about anything that I believe in. I would not fear standing for things that I believe in. I would be confident enough to showcase my talents without overthinking, without thinking, what will people say? Will people judge my work? Will it even be worth it? Will it be what? I stopped asking myself those questions and I started asking, Jane, what would life look like for you if you stepped out of your fear and you started walking in confidence? And what that did for me is what we are going to discuss in point number 3, which is basically the how. How do you choose to show up as that person that you see yourself being? So you cannot stop at what would life look like? You have to go into the third step and ask and start now showing up as that person. So for me, it was important for me to ask myself, how do I show up as the best version of myself? What best version of myself helps me step out in confidence? So for me, it had to start with how I dress. How do I show up in the marketplace? How do I want to be known for? What do I see when I look at that person that I actually admire and I think I want to be that person? How are they showing up in the marketplace? What is it that they are doing that is different, and how can I implement that into what I'm doing so that it also kind of like gives the same result? And what that has done for me, I cannot even explain in words. You have to start living out as the person that you see yourself being. When you become the best version of yourself, how does that person show up in the marketplace? How does that passion how does that person speak? How does that person lead? How does that person communicate? How does that person present themselves? Because once you have those aspects written down, now you have already narrowed down your mind so that you're not in a noisy place where you don't know what kind of person to be. You have now narrowed down your mind to the person that you want to be. What does that person look like? They look like 1, 2, 3. How can I get there? If I'm not yet there, what can I implement now that will help me get to that place? What steps can I take now that I will start living as that person so that in the next 20 years, I will be at that place where I see the ideal Jane living like what they would be? And so for me, these are the things that that worked for me that I would like to share with you guys. Number one is consistency. Consistency never goes away, and consistency is not easy. And that is why a lot of us quit. That is why a lot of us give up, because in order to remain consistent, you have to go past the I like to call it the pain of birth. You see, when you're going through the pain of birth, there's those contractions that you get before you actually hold your gift in your hand, which is your baby. So during those contractions, the pain that you experience at that point, you will, I don't want to use the word curse, but you will want to regret carrying that pregnancy in the first place. You're not going to be happy with the experience. You're basically going to talk about everything negative that you experienced in that process. But the minute you birth that child, the minute you hold that baby, all that frustration, all those contractions go away. It's the same thing with birthing yourself. It's the same thing with birthing your confidence. There is going to be a period of contraction, a period where you're going to have to deal with your insecurities, a period where you're going to have to deal with things you have not dealt with for a long time, a period where you're going to have to confront a lot of things, to give yourself grace for a lot of things. And if you are not careful, that contraction period is where a lot of us give up. We don't go to the end where we actually give birth to this baby and see what they can become. So I would like to encourage you, as much as I am encouraging myself, that the step of consistency is very important when it comes to dealing with, or when it comes to you birthing your confidence. You're going to have to learn to sit in the discomfort of the things that you're not even sure how to navigate. You're not sure how the next contracting pain, you don't know how long it's going to take. But if we are confident enough to sit in that period of contraction, to sit in that period of birthing, once we hold that baby in our hands, that is where point 2 will be achieved. We will start not only living as the ideal Jane, but you will now start living as that Jane that you dreamt you're going to become. So put your name there. I'm putting my name there so that I can be able to identify with this conversation. The next thing for me is prayer. Prayer is key, because the Bible says, for without faith it is impossible to please God. So we've got to have faith that God is able to take us from this step to this step. And how do you implement your faith? Through action. You cannot only just have faith. You cannot just be telling God, give me confidence, but you're not doing anything about it. You're not acting on your situation. You're not trying at least to even change the situation where you're in. You're not trying to even change who you are as a person. So as we stand up in faith, we've got to also do what I like to call bold action. So I'm not only having faith that God is going to help me, but I am also implementing bold action, so that what happens, it allows me to now show God that I actually have faith that while I am doing this, you're going to do your part and you're going to help me become this person that I want to become. Let me tell you, if you're going to have to roboshanta your way through that process of prayer, please do it. If we are going to have to speak in tongues, that's what I mean, to get you out of your funk, to get you out of that place where you are stuck, to get you out of your misery, you're going to have to stand up in prayer, and I will do the same for you. And for that, I have created these fearless faith affirmations that are going to help you in this process. What happens is, what we are saying is, don't only have faith, but use that faith to move in bold action. So I'm going to be leaving the link in the description box for you to go ahead and download a free copy and start speaking these affirmations in your life. Start praying them in your life, so that now as you implement these goals towards becoming a confident person, you're also trusting that God is going to help you in the process. Now, the third one, which is also kind of like intertwined with what we've spoken about, is affirmations. You're going to have to affirm yourself. For me to be able to reach this place where I'm actually confident in the things that I am doing, and I am believing in whatever God has put in my hands and is what I'm putting out, it's basically what I'm putting out here, is because I've had to constantly affirm myself. I've had to constantly remind myself that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I have had to constantly remind myself that God will bless the work of my hands, because sometimes it's not going to be easy. Sometimes it's going to be hard. It's going to be frustrating. You will not understand what you're doing. You will not think that you're making any progress. It's going to be hard. It's going to be filled with tears. There's going to be days you wake up and you don't want to do what you're doing. You don't want to be confident anymore. But if you choose to continue affirming yourself, affirming your faith, and affirming the giftings that God has put in your hand, it's one of the best ways to help you remain in the journey towards becoming the confident you. Now, the last part is, you have to choose to live that life every day and with every opportunity you get. You have to make the choice of living that life every day. Just as we defined the word confidence, it is the outcome of the thoughts that we think and the actions that we take. So here we are not just going to think about the ideal Jane and how confident she would be. She'd be walking around like the CEO. What actions am I going to take to be able to become this person? What actions will I need to take to be able to move to the next step, to move to the next level, to face this fear that is constantly crippling me, How am I able to do that? So once you have the how in place, you have got to implement this every single day, so that every day you are one step closer to becoming the version that you want to be. You are one step closer to becoming the confident person that you want to be. You are one step closer to being the confident, sure, and affirmed person that you are supposed to be. So to help you with that, I would recommend that you grab a copy of this book, Disruptive Thinking by T.D. Jakes. I am telling you, if you are starting something, if you are in the middle of building something, if you want to be a disruptor in the spaces you're in, I would highly recommend that you read this book, because it is going to make you question a lot of the things you're doing. Am I ready to be a disruptor? This space of disruption, what are the things that I'm going to have to deal with? What are the challenges that I'm going to have to deal with? It is going to give you, it's like a practical guide that is helping you in your confidence journey, so that when you are in those places where you feel the contracting pain, you will remember that is the part, that is basically the process of becoming a disruptive thinker. And so you will know that you are in the right direction and you're taking the right steps towards becoming confident. That's it for today's conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. If it's your first time here, karibu sana. Welcome to Make an Impression, and I hope you love this place and you choose to stay. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next conversation. Bye.